up, everybody? It's AT. In just one moment, we are going to hit on the biggest and best yet portal commitment for Colorado and Coach Prime. We're talking about it momentarily. So excited to talk about a new portal commitment. Before we get to it, though, do me a quick favor. Make sure to subscribe to the Aaron Torres Pod YouTube channel. New content every day. College football, college basketball, National Signing Day, portal talk out the wazoo. Can't stop talking portal. Make sure to subscribe. We just hit 30K. I think we can get to 35 before the new year. Can't do it without your support, though. So subscribe if you're not already subscribed. With that said, let's go ahead and dive into the latest from Coach Prime, Deion Sanders. Okay, and by the way, it's amazing because the pro Coach Prime people, they love the content, can't get enough of it. The anti-Coach Prime people, Torres, you talk about Coach Prime too much. Just one problem. The guy is a content machine. He can't keep, he keeps signing big-time players. I got to talk about it. And obviously, this whole week has been one piece of news after another. Week ago, Jordan Seaton, #1 offensive tackle in America, commits to Colorado. Weekend, 4 different offensive linemen commit, 6 players total. And then, of course, over the last couple days, we had Draylon Miller, the 4-star wide receiver out of Texas, commit. We had Matthew Bedford, the very, very, very dynamic offensive lineman from Indiana, commit, 38 career starts. And so there's just one piece of news after the other. But I bring it up because I think Thursday night, we might have gotten the most important piece of portal news yet, as Will Shepard, a star wide receiver out of Vanderbilt. Yes, Vanderbilt, one of the few bright spots on that team. He committed to Coach Prime in Colorado. To me, this kid is a big-time, dynamic, I don't want to say game-changing because they have Jimmy Horn, they have Travis Hunter. I don't know if he could be game-changing when you're on the same roster as Travis Hunter, but this to me is the most important portal commitment yet. And as this roster comes together, I'm here to tell you, I think they're going to be way, way, way better than people think. So let's dive in. First off, Will Shepard, as I said, I think this was maybe the most dynamic wide receiver in the portal, period. Now, you might not know the name unless you're an SEC football diehard because he played at Vanderbilt the last few years, okay? And the thing was, he was really one of the only bright spots at Vanderbilt. This year on a very bad team, 47 catches for 8 touchdowns and 47 catches for 648 yards and 8 touchdowns. Not bad. He led Vanderbilt in all those categories. Here's the crazy part, though. Those numbers are actually down a little bit from a season ago when he had 60 catches for 776 yards and 9 TDs. And so this guy was a stud in the SEC against the best defenses in college football in a spot, by the way, where he had mediocre quarterback play. This was a kid, Vanderbilt quarterbacks the last 2 years, 55% completion percentage this year, 57% the year before. So don't tell me that this guy can't get open and do great things against great defenses, because he did. By the way, a couple stat lines. Against a 10-win Missouri team, 5 catches, 98 yards, 1 touchdown. Against admittedly a not very good Florida team, 3 catches, 107 yards, 35 yards per catch. This guy had 4 catches for 43 yards against Auburn. The point being, he produced against everybody with a mediocre quarterback. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. It's just a fact. 55% completion percentage. It's the truth. I'm sorry. It hurts. That's the reality. And, obviously when it was very clear that he was the only target on the field. And so now you put him with Shedeur Sanders. You put him lined up alongside Travis Hunter, Jimmy Horn, Draylon Miller, who I just mentioned. That is a super dynamic offense. And I think this guy could be one of the breakout stars of the 2024 college football season. Beyond that, when you start to add up all the pieces that have already come and that are going to continue to come over these next couple weeks, I'm sorry, but for the people that are just out on Coach Prime, he's overrated, he doesn't deliver, he doesn't this, he doesn't that, I'm sorry, but I just fundamentally disagree. First of all, there's the bottom line that we've talked about on this show nonstop since the season ended. Did not end well. Struggled down the stretch. But They did go 4-8 after going 1-12 the year before. That is a 400% increase in wins, okay? On top of that, or is it 300%? I don't know. I'm not good at math. Whatever, you get the point. On top of that, all those close losses, 6 points to Utah, 7 points to USC, 3 points to a 9-win Arizona team. A lot of key pieces coming back, a lot of new talent coming into that program. Jordan Seaton at offensive tackle, a couple big-time portal guys, Khalil Benson and Matthew Bedford from Indiana that could have gone pretty much anywhere in the portal. They were both recruited by Power Fives, major Power Fives. Tyler Johnson from Houston. By the way, the kid that came with Jackson State that wasn't eligible this year, he is available too. Now you add the skill position guys. I'm just here to say, I think this is going to be better than people realize. And as I look at next year, I'm not saying they're going to win the Big 12 because Utah's going to be there. There's going to be some competition. But like I said, I think they're going to be much better than people realize, okay? So I was thinking about this after the Will Shepard commitment. And I admit, they still need some help, certainly along the defensive front and at the linebacker spot. I don't know who they're going after, but I know they're going to get dudes. I know they're going to get difference makers. And so I bring it up because they're going to get the guys. But at the same time, think about this. Think about the Big 12 next year. Okay, so first of all, why will they be improved? One, they're going to an easier conference. I hate to be a jerk, but it's the truth. No Oregon on the schedule. They played USC when USC was playing as well as they did all year before USC got beat up and basically quit on the season. UCLA was a 7-5 team. I would argue UCLA probably would have been the second, third best team in the Big 12 this year, behind maybe only Texas and Oklahoma, maybe Oklahoma State. And so I bring it up because the conference isn't going to be as good. But by the way, who's the best team in the Big 12 going into next year? Like without knowing the rosters, you know who's probably going to be number 1 and number 2 going into the season? Utah from the Pac-12. Colorado lost by 6. I think Arizona, which won 9 games. Noah Fafita, their star quarterback, is coming back along with many of their skill position guys. They'll be in the mix. And so I just bring it up. Teams that Colorado is familiar with, that they're competitive with. I think those might be the top 2 teams in that league next year. Now we'll see what TCU does, Kansas State, Kansas, West Virginia, whatever. But there aren't a lot of teams on that schedule that you look at and say, Colorado is really screwed. Maybe none, as a matter of fact. Beyond that, let's just go very quickly, position by position. Quarterback, Shedeur. I know it got ugly down the stretch, but he got beat up down the stretch too. But this was still a guy that completed an absurd number of his passes. And I still think at the end of the day, he is a guy that when you look at him, let's be honest, he is still probably the best NFL draft prospect at quarterback. By the way, for everybody who thinks Shedeur was so bad down the stretch, 69% completion percentage, 27 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. If you think that's a bad season behind maybe the worst O-line with no run game, I don't really know what to tell you. But Shedeur, I would argue, is going to be the best NFL draft prospect at quarterback in the Big 12 next year. Now, we'll see. Maybe Kansas State gets somebody crazy out of the portal, TCU, whatever. But it's probably going to be Shedeur. The wide receiver room, let's just talk about it really quick. Will Shepard, star in the SEC, 47 catches at Vanderbilt. He's there. Draylon Miller, 4-star, committed to Texas. He is Texas A&M, flips to Colorado. He's there. Travis Hunter, 47 catches, I believe, this year, playing not both ways. And also on top of that, was injured for 3 games. He'll play some wide receiver. Jimmy Horn will be back after making 58 catches this year. So, I mean, you start going down the list, that's probably going to be the best wide receiver core in the Big 12. Again, let's just look at it. Xavier Weaver is gone, okay? But Jimmy Horn, 57 catches, 721 yards, 5 touchdowns. 58 catches, 667 yards, 6 touchdowns. Travis Hunter, 57 catches, 721 yards, 13 yards per reception, 5 touchdowns. Draylon Miller, Amarion Miller, who had his moments as a true freshman this year, 11 catches, 234 yards, that 1 touchdown against USC. You go on and on down the list. That might be the best receiver core in the Big 12 next year. The offensive line will be much improved. Jordan Seaton, I don't believe they're done. Could Caden Green, the former fringe 5-star, 4-star who started at Oklahoma, could he be a Colorado Buffalo? Remember, Colorado's new offensive line coach came from Oklahoma. I think it's at least a possibility. O-line will be improved. The run game will be better. Shador will probably not be on his back so much, with grass coming out of his helmet. Best wide receiver group in the conference. Now, obviously, look, the defense does have to get better. I'm not going to sit here and lie. But even the secondary, Travis Hunter's a first-round pick at corner. Cormani McClain, we hope that he's kind of learned and evolved and gotten better. The maturity. I'm starting to watch that Coach Prime documentary on Amazon right now. That poor kid, I think he was just away from home, an adjustment, this and that. I think he's going to be due for a big breakout year next year now that he knows what the expectations are. Cam Michael, 4-star, French 5-star, corner/wide receiver. Probably gets the start on the defensive side of the ball, whatever. I don't know if he's a start, but you get the point. He'll be a priority on the defensive side of the ball. Shiloh Sanders in the secondary. So look, still a lot of work to do, especially in the front seven, especially along the defensive line. And I'm not here to say next year they're Georgia, or next year they're Alabama, or next year they're Texas, or next year they're Ohio State. But I do think the talent upgrade, when you start looking player on top of player on top of player, it feels to me like the talent upgrade is coming fast and furious. I think it's one of the better teams in the Big 12. I think they are already much improved. I think they're better than most people realize now. And Coach Prime, he ain't done. He's coming. All right, if you enjoyed this video, do me a quick favor. Make sure to subscribe to the Aaron Torres Pod YouTube channel. By the way, I have a feeling Coach Prime's going to have 20 kids on campus that we don't even know about this weekend. I'm sure we'll be doing some sort of reaction after the weekend. But make sure to subscribe. Big get for Coach Prime. All sorts of college football, all sorts of college basketball. Make sure you're locked.